Another example on changing the subject of equations that involve squares or square roots. Let's look at the question for this video. X is equal to n over m squared plus y. Make m the subject of the equation and find m if x is equal to 12, n is equal to 28, and y is equal to 0. Leave your answer in set 4. So let's concentrate on the first part of the question. We have to make m the subject of the equation x is equal to n over m squared plus y. Now, we can see from this equation that straight away it involves a fraction. What do we do when the equation involves a fraction? You identify the fraction, you find the denominator, you find the LCM of the denominators, you multiply each term in the equation by the LCM. And that is exactly what we are going to do. So here the fraction we have is n over m squared. That is the only fraction in the equation. It means that the denominator of that fraction is going to be our LCM. The denominator is m squared, so our LCM will also be m squared. We have been able to find the LCM. So the next thing we need to do is to identify the terms in the equation and multiply each term by the LCM, which is m squared. X is one term, n over m squared is another term, and y is also another term. So what do? We multiply x by m squared, we multiply n over m squared by m squared, and we multiply y by m squared. So we have m squared times x is equal to m squared times n over m squared plus m squared times y. From here, we can cancel the fractions out such that the fractions will be away from the equation. So m squared will cancel m squared. So we have taken the fractions out of the equation. M squared will cancel itself 1 and cancel m squared here 1. Okay, let's continue. So we are going to have m squared times x. We know from algebra that is m squared x. Now this m squared is gone, this m squared is gone, so we have 1 times n, which will give us n. Then plus m squared times y. We know from algebra that one also is m squared y. Let's go to the question again. We want to make m the subject. We want to make m the subject. Now, if you want to make m the subject, what do? We make sure that all the terms containing m are on one side of the equation. The terms containing m are m squared x and m squared y. So we make sure that they are on one side of the equation. So we group them to one side of the equation. Now, because I have m squared x here, I'm going to keep it. Then I will bring this m squared y over to this side. So we are going to have m squared x. This one is positive here, so when it crosses to this side, it becomes negative. So minus m squared y is equal to n, which is already here. Now, what do we do from here? We want to make m the subject, so we are going to factorize m squared out, since that is what we want to stand alone. So if you factorize m squared out, you are going to get m squared into bracket x minus y is equal to n. I'm sure that by this time you are conversant with why we are putting x minus y in the bracket. We've explained it all along since we started. So m squared is equal to x minus y. M squared into bracket x minus y is equal to n. Sorry. M squared into bracket x minus y is equal to n. We want to make m squared stand alone. What do we do from here? As we've been doing all along, we divide through by the variable or the numbers attached to what the letter you want to make the subject. The variable you want to make the subject is m squared. What is attached to it is x minus y. So we are going to divide through by that. So you divide the left hand side by x minus y. We divide the right hand side by x minus y. When we do that, this x minus y will cancel this x minus y so that our m squared can stand alone. So we have m squared is equal to n over x minus y. But look at the question again. The question said that we should make m the subject, not m squared. But if you look at what we have done here, we have been able to make m squared the subject. We want m to be the subject, not m squared. And because we want m to be the subject, in the first video on changing the subject of equation that involves squares and square root sign, we said that when the quantity we want to make the subject is a square term, take square root of both sides. Now, because we want to make m the subject, but what we have here is m squared, we are going to take square root of both sides such that the square can cancel the square root sign will nullify the squared here so that we can make m the subject. So that is exactly what we are going to do. We take square root of m squared here, then we take square root of n over x minus y. What you do to the left hand side, you do the same thing to the right hand side. So we take square root of m squared, and we also take square root of n over x minus y. Now, as soon as you do this, you will see that just as we saw in the previous video, the square will cancel the square root sign so that m will give us square root of n over x minus y. So we see that with this, we have been able to make m the subject of the equation. When we got here, you can't stop here because when you leave it like this, you have made m squared the subject of the equation. The question said we should make m the subject of the equation. So when you get something like this, what you do is that you take square root of both sides such that m can be the subject of the equation. Let's move on to the second part of our question. It said that we should find m when x is equal to 12, n is equal to 28, and y is equal to 0. We now have m to be square root of n over x minus y. So what do? We replace n with 28, x with 12, and y with 0. And that's exactly what you're going to do. So m is equal to square root of n, which is 28, divided by x, which is 12, minus y, which is 0. Now, this is going to give us square root of 2. The question said that we should leave our answer in surd form. And if you watch the video on surd, you understand that square root of 2 is a surd. Because the question said we should leave our answer in surd form, we are going to leave our answer just like this. So m is equal to square root of 2. Thank you for watching this video. Don't forget to subscribe by clicking on the subscribe button below. Share the link with others so that they can also enjoy this video. In the next video, we are going to take another question on changing the subject of equations that involve squares or square root signs. Bye-bye.